Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Days of Our Lives' latest episode. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday, January 22nd reveal Jada Hunter, Elia Cantu, and Stephanie Johnson, Abigail Klein, have some wedding fun. Meanwhile, Steve Johnson, Stephen Nichols, is on the job. Plus, Jeremy Horton, Michael Rourke, and Julie Williams, Susan Seaforth Hayes, share a moment. Here's what you need to know. First, Days of Our Lives reveal things are moving quickly. Despite an initial desire for a long engagement, Jada and Stephanie go wedding shopping. Last time we saw this pair together, Jada had just learned the news through a press release. Plus, Stephanie wanted Jada to be her maid of honor. It looks like Jada is taking the responsibility seriously. We're cautiously looking forward to this moment. We've had so many headaches with certain plots lately, we can't even. So it should, in theory, be fun to watch a couple of besties getting ready for a huge moment. And we imagine there will be some talk of the pre-wedding party Jada will throw. Well, assuming they're not still in trauma mode from Jada's. But then no one really seems to take the Salem wedding curse seriously, no matter how many victims it claims. If they were smart, they'd be heading to a tropical location for the big day and leave all that Salem drama behind. As for the groom, Steve keeps his eye on Alex Kyriakis, Robert Scott Wilson. We assume the fact Jada is commissioner and Alex is the suspected true target is the only reason Steve has allowed Stephanie to leave his sight right now. And we have a feeling Steve is going to be keeping a low profile as he watches Alex, hoping the stalker will strike if they think Alex is alone. We'll see how that goes, because the winter promo makes it look like Stephanie is definitely the one actually in danger here. Honestly, we expect Steve's possible setup will be a bust. Finally, Jeremy confides in Julie. Days of Our Lives spoilers indicate he did just have a heart-to-heart with Thomas D. Mara, Carrie Christopher, so he might just share a bit of that with her. After all, Julie just recently learned of the mediation agreement. She'll definitely have Thomas on her mind right now. Although, it's also likely this will be more about his feelings about the Alex/Stephanie engagement. He was clearly bothered by the announcement, and Julie thinks he's innocent of stalking. So, she'd be a safe person to talk to. Of course, we think this conversation is going to end in a cliffhanger that will leave Julie in shock. And that cliffhanger may be the key that changes everything. Because when Jeremy finally opens up to Julie, this won't be just another emotional chat in the Horton living room. This will be a moment that forces Julie to question everything she thought she knew about the stalker, about Alex, and possibly even about Jeremy himself. The look on her face at the end of that conversation may say more than any words ever could. At this point, the biggest question hanging over Salem is simple. Who is really in danger, and who is hiding the truth? Let's talk about Stephanie for a moment. All signs now point to the fact that she may be walking straight into a trap. The winter promo has made it painfully clear that while Steve believes Alex is the target, the real threat may be much closer to home. And that makes Steve's current plan extremely dangerous. By focusing all of his attention on Alex, Steve could be leaving Stephanie exposed at the worst possible time. Think about it. The stalker is clearly intelligent. They know how to manipulate situations. They know how to redirect suspicion. And they know exactly how to strike when everyone's looking the other way. If Steve is waiting for the stalker to make a move on Alex, then the perfect strategy would be to attack Stephanie instead. Quietly. Suddenly. Without warning. And if that happens, Steve may never forgive himself. Now let's go back to Jada and Stephanie's wedding plans. On the surface, this looks like a light, fun storyline. Two best friends laughing, trying on dresses, dreaming about the future. But in Salem, nothing is ever just light and fun. Not when danger is lurking in the shadows. Because while Jada is focused on being the perfect maid of honor, and Stephanie is dreaming about her big day, the Salem wedding curse is hanging over them like a dark cloud. We've seen it time and time again. Weddings in Salem rarely end happily. They end in disasters, in betrayals, in violence, in death. And that raises a chilling possibility. What if this wedding is being used as bait? What if the stalker is waiting for the perfect moment, a public moment, a chaotic moment, to strike? A wedding would be the perfect stage. Hundreds of guests, emotions running high, security distracted, and one target who never sees it coming. Now let's talk about Alex Kyriakis. Right now, he is the center of suspicion. The man everyone is watching. The man Steve believes is the real target. But what if that's exactly what the stalker wants? What if Alex is nothing more than a decoy? The more Steve watches Alex, the safer Alex becomes. And the more dangerous things become for Stephanie. Because the stalker doesn't need to attack the person everyone is guarding. They need to attack the person no one is protecting. And that may soon be Stephanie. Now back to Jeremy. His conversation with Julie could be the most important scene of the entire episode. Jeremy is clearly carrying something heavy. Something he can't tell anyone else. Something that connects to Thomas, and possibly to the stalking case. Julie believes Jeremy is innocent. She trusts him. She defends him. But what if that trust is about to be shattered? What if Jeremy reveals something that completely changes the story? A secret, a confession, a detail that doesn't add up. And what if Julie suddenly realizes that the person she's been defending may not be as innocent as she thought? That final moment, the shock on Julie's face, could signal the beginning of a brand new twist. Because in Salem, the most dangerous people are not the ones acting suspicious. They are the ones no one suspects at all. So as Thursday's episode unfolds, every storyline is quietly moving toward one explosive point. Jada and Stephanie are moving closer to a wedding. Steve is moving closer to a mistake. Jeremy is moving closer to the truth. And Julie is moving closer to a revelation that could change everything. By the end of this episode, one thing is certain. Someone will be in danger. Someone will be exposed. And someone's life may never be the same again. And the biggest shock? It may come from the person we least expect. Stay tuned, because in Salem, the calm before the storm is always the most dangerous part. And when that storm finally hits, it won't just damage one life. It will send shockwaves through all of Salem. Because the closer we get to the truth, the clearer it becomes that this story is no longer just about a stalker. It's about motive. It's about obsession. And it's about a plan that may have been building for a very long time. Let's look closely at what the show is really setting up. Every major character right now is standing at a crossroads. Jada is balancing love and duty. Stephanie is walking blindly toward danger. Steve is trusting his instincts, and those instincts may be wrong. Jeremy is hiding something, and Julie is about to learn a truth she may wish she never heard. This is not coincidence. This is careful writing. Because when a story lines up this many emotional threads at once, it usually means one thing. A major turning point is coming, and that turning point may happen much sooner than anyone expects. Imagine this scenario. Steve continues watching Alex. The police tighten their focus on the wrong suspect. Security relaxes around Stephanie. And the stalker finally sees their opening. One quiet moment. One empty hallway. 1 second when no one is paying attention. That's all it takes. And if Stephanie is attacked, or worse, the entire case will explode. Steve will realize he failed. Jada will be forced to choose between her job and her best friend. The wedding will be thrown into chaos. And the real suspect will finally surface. Now here's the most chilling possibility of all. What if the stalker is not acting alone? What if someone else is helping them, feeding them information, creating distractions, manipulating people into the wrong positions? Because the stalker always seems to know too much. They always strike at the perfect time. They always stay one step ahead. That doesn't happen by accident. And that brings us back to Jeremy. His timing is suspicious. His emotions are complicated. And his connection to Thomas may be far more important than we realize. What if Thomas knows something he shouldn't? What if Jeremy knows something about the stalker, but is afraid to say it out loud? And what if Julie is the first person to hear a piece of the puzzle? That changes the entire investigation. That's why this episode matters so much. Because this is not filler. This is not slow drama. This is the episode where the board is set. Every character is being placed exactly where they need to be. For what comes next. And when the next move is made, there will be no turning back. So as you watch Thursday's episode, pay attention to the small moments, the looks that last too long, the pauses before someone speaks, the lines that seem harmless, but aren't. Because in Days of Our Lives, the biggest twists are never announced. They are whispered. And when the truth finally comes out, it won't just shock Salem. It will change the story forever.